Reds, we're live again with another episode from the Tricolour Reds. There's myself, Khalid as always, Nigel and Ryan here as a special guest tonight. Delighted to have him. We'll talk all things United, the takeover debacle, United versus PSG tonight for the ladies, and anything else. Any questions, fire them our way. We'll try our best to answer them.
Well, you've been practicing that, so you have. There's no doubt about it. There's a big script underneath that phone, no doubt about it.
We'll see about that. And we have our first viewer. So, hello, you're watching live. I bet that's Aaron from Kildare. I bet. My money says that it's Aaron. But as everyone sees on the screen, we've got the twinsies today with the same jersey. We did not orchestrate it. And I'll let you debate in the comments who looks better, Nigel or Deck, just whatever.
I'm 10 years younger.
Oh, we're starting strong, huh?
No comment. You blew me out of the water now. Go on.
All right. And we have a special guest. I'll start with you because today you're not replacing. He was supposed to be here, but Dara couldn't be here. I'll tell you, he's the man with the shortest answers ever. Like, whenever I ask him a question on the podcast, it goes on and on and on. I'm like, hey, please. So, Ryan, welcome on board. Tell us a bit about yourself before we start.
No, first of all, lads, pleasure. Absolute pleasure for having me on. I really appreciate it. I've seen a lot of the stuff that you guys do. Big fan of the content, and so keep up the great work. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a former professional footballer, and now I run a private coaching company, RH Elite Coaching, working with professional players, international players, and now we're on here, obviously Manchester United players. I work with Bruno Fernandes, I've worked with Fred, Diogo Dalot, Anthony Elanga and Ella Toon for the women as well. So yeah, and I work with a lot of the under 18s lads, and yeah, the list goes on really. So that's a little bit about me. But yeah, great work, guys. Keep up the great work. It's brilliant.
Thank you, Ryan. And you see, Dara just posted in the chat. He says, "I'm a lovely fella. Don't listen to them chancers, Ryan." Just we said he's the guy with the shortest answers. Yeah.
So even his text there was long.
Yeah,
and the shortest legs.
That's true. I missed this one. Even his comment is long. I bet he's laughing in the car somewhere now. Well, he has the link in case you can jump Dara, even with the poor lighting. Anyway. So, straight to the point, we jump into it. And Deck, I'm starting with you, and then I'll go to Ryan, and then I'll go to Nigel. I named the video and the episode, "The Takeover Dream is Over." Nothing more to say in my question. Deck, up to you. How did you live this week?
Obviously, I was gutted because I'd been hoping all along that we'd finally see the back of the Glazers, and the bid that interested me the most was the Qatari one because it cleared the debt in the club, had someone who had an interest in coming in and investing in the club and not running it purely on a commercial basis, and that's what we want. We want to see our team succeeding on the pitch. As fans of a football club, we're not worried about the commercial success. We're worried about the success on the pitch, and I firmly believe if you don't have success on the pitch, every business model is going to falter. The Glazers aren't interested in our club. For too long, they've treated us as a cash cow, dividends every year, and I don't know too much about Sir Jim's bid, other than I wasn't that interested in it. It doesn't seem to make sense, him coming in after the Glazers are still there because they've been the problem. So I'm hoping that this is all a smoke screen and the Qatari bid might come back in. There's rumours online about everything. So until we see it ratified by the board, no one really knows what's going to happen. Preferably, I would have loved to have seen the Qatari bid successful.
Yes, I would come back to it, but really from the fans and going backwards. Ryan, up to you. How did you live this story since 11 months ago with the takeover, and how do you see the end of it coming now with this? What's happening? Qatar is pulling off. What's happening? Ratcliffe 25%, and then him calling the shots, was the manager, who's the players who sign. How did you live this whole 11 months?
I think Dex hit the nail on the head there with obviously hugely disappointed with the Qatari bid sort of falling through. I think as long as the Glazers are sort of involved, I feel like it's just a nonsense. The club's in a wreck at the moment, and as long as them lads are around the football club, it will just continue to be an absolute mess. I feel like it just needs a complete overhaul, just needs a complete change. And the Qataris would have come in, and like you said, they would have wiped the club, cleaned the club up, cleared the debts. And like you said, the dividends, they're running a mockery out of the football club, and I think everybody knows it. And us as fans, it hurts us because we're seeing us hurt on the pitch because of that as well. And as the football club is obviously results on the pitch is what we're judged on. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world, and at the moment, we seems to be people laughing at us off the pitch rather than we used to be a monster off the pitch as well as on it. And I think at the moment we're neither, which is very, very sad. And you just got to be honest about it. But as long as them lads are in control, we're in big trouble, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but that's my view.
Listen, we share a lot of it. And Nigel, up to you straight.
Yeah, no, share the sentiments of the two boys. Very, very disappointed with how it's all gone. And again, reading reports of like Ratcliffe coming in on 25%, but to allow the Glazers maybe take a back seat, but should have never really been front of business anyway. But apart from standing still, we're probably going backwards, to be honest, because we can't do anything with the uncertainty hanging over ownership. You see where like the investments that's made in Newcastle from Saudi groups and stuff like that, it doesn't have like nice gradual improvement and but where Sheikh Pazim was coming in, the 92 Foundation, like straight away that tells you that his heart and soul was in turning our club around, and it would have taken time, but he was set to hopefully restore us to glory days, because I fear for what's coming down the line next, because in other case with I'm still not so sure about the Ratcliffe bid when you see that he had a failed bid to buy Chelsea, and then Todd Boehly came in and bought up Chelsea. So like, how much of his heart is actually invested in taking on our club and spending the type of money that's needed? Because let's be honest, like we've all now been in Old Trafford this season and seen, unfortunately, that it's starting to look a little bit worse for wear, and particularly in some parts of the stadium, it's just very, very disheartening to see for all of us and for any member of the Red Devil community. And then to read online about fan protests and trying to get mass walkouts and people to give up season tickets. People that had season tickets all their life aren't going to give up season tickets. That's just not going to happen. Because even and I maybe I don't know what your opinion is. Maybe we can chat about this and over the next couple of minutes, like mass walkouts. But at the end of the day, it kills me to say it, but the Glazers have your money. So if you're not in the stadium, they've still got your money. Like, you need to be more vocal. You need to be more, stay in the ground actually after the match. Don't leave the ground. Refuse to leave. Cause problems that way. Well, obviously peaceful, but don't wreck the place. But we're not Liverpool. But but you know what I mean? I think there is other ways around it, because it's very, very disheartening.
Yes, it's a sad period for all of us. And since a week ago, I was just trying to digest the news, and I think for me, one big learning that we all knew, but now it's like clearer than the day. They just care about the money. Giving up for 25% and him calling the shots. I'm not against him, but if he were taking 100%, we would back him and we would support him. I would say, at least I would support someone who's taking over the Glazers if there were no Sheikh Jassim, for example. But it hurts to see that they care about that retail brand, United Direct, the mega store, the money, the marketing, but not about the football. No one cares, and it says a lot in the past week, and it just hard to accept. And today I was just scrolling on Twitter, and here, let me just get the sense from you guys. It's rumored that Sheikh Jassim is emotionally attached to the club as a Man United fan, as any fan. and that he still wants to have that last offer somehow. Maybe. So, Dec, do you see this happening? And if it happens, how much will it be? 10 billion like they want, or just will it be less? What do you think? Is there a chance or dream is gone?
Well, I think the valuation that they've put on the club is laughable, since they're driving down the stock price daily. 5 billion to be offered for a club is a record, and why they aren't taking it and running, I'll never understand. They've more than made their money off United these last years. They've ran us into debt continuously. So I'd love to see him come in. He seems interested in the club. He is a fan. If it's true about Beckham becoming involved with him as well, I think that's great, and it shows his intent that he is interested in the club and he has the club's interest in his heart, and that's all we want as fans of this club.
Yeah.
That's there's nothing more we want other than someone who's interested in our club running it. We are sick to death of the Glazers clearing us out every year, and we've all seen it. The stadium's falling apart. If it rains, there's a waterfall in one of the stands. I think it's nicknamed the Malcolm Glazer Waterfall. It's ridiculous, you know. They just have to pack up, head back across the water, and give the club to someone who actually has the club's interest at heart.
Across the water to the west, not to us in Ireland, right?
They don't want to come over near us.
Ryan, up to you here, and it's a different question. If this takeover were to happen and we have unlimited funds from Sheikh Jassim to get new players at Man United, how would you shake things? Like, give me your top 3 transfer that you would bring in. Let's say one in defense, one in the midfield, one as a forward. And I'll start with the forward because I know you worked with Rashford, with Bruno. Okay, he's not a forward, but I'll start there from the forward. Who would you bring if you had unlimited money in order to shake things off? You know the players better.
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. It is and you're putting me on the spot there, mate, if I'm being honest. But for me, I think, like the lad said before, I think when Newcastle had their takeover, everything wasn't a mad rush. Everything was calculated. They had a plan. They had a vision. I feel like, you know, the transfer, if we look at our transfers over the years, regardless of whether it's Glazer money or whether it's Qatari money or whether, you know, they've not been great, if we're being honest, even though the money. So you've got to have a clear plan and you've got to have a philosophy. And I think that just comes down to the manager as well. That comes down to the manager and what he wants. It's not the case of having loads of money and just wasting the money. I think it's got to be a clear plan in place. You know, players that are young, young, hungry, and want to play for the football club. We sort of sign players that come in towards the end of their careers, which, you know, they do a great job for 1 or 2 years, but then obviously the cycle then goes again. I think we need to build for the future, signing young, exciting players. And yeah, I'm skirting around your question here because that's a very, very good question about who to sign. Yeah, honestly, lads, I don't know because there's so many top young players out there. I would have loved to got Harry Kane before he went to Bayern. I just feel like if that was me in that position as the owner, I would have splashed the cash for him because I feel like he's probably what we need in terms. I know we've brought the young lad in who we're going to talk about later on, but he's not a finished article. He needs nurturing and he's developing, and he's looked brilliant, by the way. He gives us a different dynamic, but I think Kane's proven. I would have gone for someone who's proven, getting us goals, and we need a centre midfielder. For me, we need an enforcer like I know it's daft to say, but we need a sort of a Roy Keane sort of figure, that a presence in there. Casemiro does that, but again, he's on his way out. You know, he's been up and down this season. He was brilliant in his first year. This is just my opinion. I feel like we need to get someone young who's an enforcer in there who'll dictate. And yeah, at the back, I feel like Varane again, he's aging, he's on his way out. You know, do you replace him? Up in the air with Maguire? Martinez, I'm a big fan of Martinez, but you know, we need someone outside of him. For me, Lindelof, I'm not sure on him. I don't know what you guys think, but I think the spine needs to be very, very strong, and you know, you can build from that. That's just my opinion, and I've not answered your question on names or anything. So sorry, but that,
great.
yeah.
I'll ask you another one to get the best out of your presence tonight with us. And
yes,
I've seen you're working with academy players all over, either in Man City or Man United and everything. Us as fans, we don't know that much about them, but what can you tell us about the future potential? What does it hold for us as Man United in the academy, under 21 or under 19, or you know better? Is there like some real talents you see there evolving into the first team?
Yeah, there's some massive talents coming through the academy system. We had Dan Gore make his debut against Crystal Palace. He's someone that I've worked with. He's young, he's very technical, and he's got that grit, he's got that determination. He's a very, very good technical player, but he can also mix it. We've got the likes of, you know, Reece Bennett, who's a centre half who's been in and around the first team, but he's just coming back from an injury. He's a very good player. Again, he's someone who's technically good on the ball, but again, he's got that, you know, he's quick, he's athletic, he's got that, you know, that bite about him. I think when they're young like that and they love the football club and they're breaking it, we've seen it with players, and it means a lot more for me. And it means that as fans, we back him a lot more, even though sometimes we turn him into scapegoats. So it's a bit like Scott McTominay, for example. I think the fans sort of, because he's homegrown, can give him a little bit more, but there's a lot of top players. Finn McAllister, who's just come back from England. He's a good player. He plays right back or centre midfielder. There's some top talents in the academy coming through, and them three in particular are ones to watch for me. The good players.
All right, that's interesting and reassuring. And one fun fact: if you know one of them is half Irish, half English, just push them to play for Ireland, because we need them in the future.
Yeah. Of course.
We need to lose now. We need to lose in order to qualify for the Euro with the Nations League. We need to lose against them.
Yeah,
but that we can do against the others. We can lose, right?
Yeah.
All right.
No. I'll push them that way for you. Don't worry, boys. I'll look after you.
All right. That's interesting. And you know, I'm from Tunisia, but I say we. I feel Irish. I've been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
And we've got Hannibal, who's from Tunisia, and he's playing in Man United. Now he's my biased favorite player. So just in a biased way, I support him. And just to close the takeover piece and move on to speak about the forwards, the players, and get the best of Ryan also. Nigel, I'm back to you. It's I really was rephrasing the question because I didn't want to say bad words. I don't know. Bad words came up to me when I would want to say
what's coming next. Go on.
I don't want to get banned out of YouTube. You know, I just can't do it. You know, but
change your name to Daxton. Get him banned.
If this thing doesn't end now, if the vote is negative and Radcliffe doesn't end up having the 25%, and then Sheikh Jassim is not bidding back, what do you expect to happen? What do you see for us in the remainder of the season and the year?
I don't know why, but I truly would love the Glazers to actually release an official statement of what their intent is, because there's been so much speculation. And again, I think we all, especially Dak and yourself, mentioned it. Like, again, I read stuff today on Twitter about Sheikh Jassim mightn't actually be out of the running, and he's just sort of sitting in the background. But like, I have a big fear that things could turn really, really nasty if we keep going down this road that we are of the Glazers. And again, it's clear they can't visit the stadium. Like, imagine an owner of a club can't come and visit and watch their team, because it just would create anarchy, basically. And again, I'm trying now to slow down a little bit, and so I don't let that slip out that I shouldn't. But it seems strange that they seem to be oblivious to the hate that we all feel for them, but that they won't, through some sort of a media company or some sort of something, release a statement of what their intentions are, that they're just happy to just let things lie be, and again, oblivious to the whole thing. But it's clear they have no interest in developing our club. And I know now, and we spent money on Highland and stuff like that, but it's only papering over the cracks. It really, really is. But I fear for what's down the road if there's no definitive one way. At least if Ratcliffe comes in and he gets his 25%, that's how you can maybe buy up a bit more percentage, and then you just get to that magic number where then he's allowed to make a takeover bid. But does he want to go and spend that type of money? Again, he hasn't come out and said anything. There's just so much uncertainty, and it really, I really fear the worst.
Yeah, interesting. And you said something that you would link me to the next topic. You said, okay, they spent money, they brought at least Hoyland and few now, but with that, I'll just jump into Hoyland, and Ryan, I'm back to you. First of all, I've seen what he said yesterday after the game with San Marino and how they targeted him, and he had the knee in his back, and it was a tough game for him. But from your point of view as the former professional player, the athlete, I don't know, what position did you play, Ryan? Sorry.
I played center midfielder.
Center midfielder. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were feeding them. Okay,
yes.
But how do you see that little kid and his potential in order to evolve? How do you see his finish? For example, the goal against Galatasaray. I was there in the stadium. I loved his finish, especially for the second goal when he ran the whole stadium and just scored it. Give me your point of view from the professional point of view.
I'm a big fan of what I've seen so far. I think, expectation wise, he come with a lot of expectation. I feel like, again, we just need to give him a little bit of time. He's a young man and he is developing in the game. But for me, what I've seen so far is he's powerful. He drives with the ball. He's a handful. He just, for me, gives you a bit of a different dynamic, which I mentioned before. We've had strike. If you look at Martial, for example, he's not. It's not. Sorry. I'm gonna follow it up with a negative. So don't worry, mate. I've got you. He's not dynamic. He's not a vocal point. He's just a waste of time. So I hope that's pleased you. That's my opinion. But he just doesn't. He doesn't give you anything what Hoyland does. Hoyland's a presence, and I don't really want to also say the next thing is he's sort of like molded on. He's a Haaland sort of style. And I think, again, he's a different type of player, but he's sort of that powerful, that presence. He gives you a bit of dynamic, but he has got the ability as well. Both sides, right and left foot. His variations of finishing, like you said, against Galatasaray, very good. And it is exciting. I just think it just gives us a little bit of something. But then it goes back to the next point I'm going to make. He needs a service. He can't be feeding off scraps. So, you can, and I have this conversation a lot with a lot of Man United fans, is for me at the moment, the only person that has sort of a creative spark is, and I haven't got my biased head on here, lads, is Bruno. Bruno's the only really one who's creative. For me, this is my opinion, he's the only one really who's sort of the creative spark. I would like to see a little bit more ownership by other players adding in and just trying to create a little bit more, because again, the young man can't feed off scraps. He needs to have the service, and then you'll get your rewards. You'll get goals. He's already seen it already, and he'll get more and more. But that's my opinion. Oh, you agree? And
I'll come back to the lads in a minute about that. But you've mentioned Bruno, and I know you worked closely with Bruno. I've seen your videos also with Bruno. What's so special about Bruno to have that drive, that desire? What is it? It's something inside. What drives Bruno really as you work closely with him?
His attention to details, unbelievable. Now I know a lot of fans are saying, sometimes he's throws his hands up in the air and he's a bit dramatic. And again, for me though, without that doesn't make him the player that he is. He is a bit wild. He's a little bit, he's a bit of a mardy bum every now and again. But again, he's a winner. He's a winner. His attention to detail, the way he wants to work, and he's so competitive. We was training, myself and Stephen Ireland was having shooting competitions against him and Diego Dalot, and we was winning, and he wouldn't leave the training pitch. He wouldn't leave the training pitch until he beat me and Stephen. And he was like, "Come on, mate!" Like, no, he was like, "No, he's that determined." And it just, and things like that. He's a Premier League player. He's a captain of one of the biggest clubs in the world. But it just shows that that professionalism and that winning mentality. You can't buy that, and that's something that for me is massive.
Yeah,
So
that's really what that desire, and I really like that piece of him when he's hands in the air and complaining sometimes, because it shows that drive, like, and it sends the referee that message that I'm here as the leader of the team, But Deck's favorite player is our number 9 and favorite on the other side. Like last week, I asked him, would Anthony Martial get a place in the women team, and he said no, absolutely not. Like he wouldn't.
no.
But
For me,
yeah,
for me on Martial, I feel, and this might be well, I'm sure you guys agree. How for one, how's he still at the football club? He's not really produced on the pitch. And secondly, how can you go on loan? How can you go on loan to Sevilla, for example, not play there? The manager's saying he's not at the quality to play there, and then come back to one of the biggest clubs in the world and play for us. It just shouldn't happen. There's too many players in that squad for me that have passed the sell-by date, and they need to move on. And again, they've just got to clear them out. Yeah. We've cleared a few out, but there's a few deadwood that also need to go. That's, again, my opinion, fellas. But he's one of them.
That's the spirit. And Deck, Nigel, just I'll go to you, Deck. We obviously know your opinion about Martial, so we won't go into that, and I don't want to get banned also. And last time I got a warning from YouTube for about an explicit content in a video because there were some words. But Deck, what did you think about what happened to Højlund yesterday? It was weird to me to read about that and what he said, but I want to get your opinion about that. About he was targeted, he was a lot of fouls, and we don't want to end up in a situation where Højlund was also injured,
Well, see, Højlund now has made a big money move to arguably the biggest club in the world. Media attention is going to be more focused on him. Other players are going to take notice of this as well. So they are going to target him, and it's something that he's going to have to get used to, because as Ryan said, he's big, he's strong, so they're going to have to figure out a way to nullify his strengths. So that is going to be by targeting him with fouls and stuff. I agree with Ryan's point earlier as well. We should have pulled out all the stops to get Harry Kane. That would have been a massive signing for us. And Højlund, if he was there at the same time, would gain so much experience from a player of his stature. I think Højlund's going to be a great player for us. He's going to keep going from strength to strength. He doesn't have it all yet because he is only a young fella, and it's a big money move for him. But yeah, he's definitely one that has the potential to be at our club for a long, long time and to be a very, very important player for us.
Yeah. Nigel, would you agree with what Dara wrote in the chat? He said Martial couldn't get on the Cork City bench at this rate.
He might just be about Cork City's level, maybe.
That will hurt Dara.
Wait to see, he's going to jump on right now.
No, for me, Martial has the wrong personality to be at our club.
Yeah.
You have to want to play for this crest here. The
Adidas one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Well, you missed it like Martial.
Yeah, but he's just the wrong type of player for me. There's nothing good. I can't say anything good about him. Really.
You hide it well, Dak. I'm not going to lie to you.
Let me say something good, but not about Martial. Ryan, you worked with Diogo Dalot, and I remember the first years, Diogo Dalot wasn't the same that we see today, and he went on loan to Milan. And what changed in Diogo over the years, and in order to be that fullback we see today, with he's aggressive, he's there. I was super impressed with his celebration after that McTominay goal against Brentford. When I see him just celebrating, he fell. It says a lot, What happened in the journey of Dalot just growing in the past 2-3 years, or let's say 4 years?
I think the potential was always there. I think, again, young man coming into a big football club, I think the competition for places he couldn't get his head round. I feel like people were getting in there, and staying in there and maintaining that, and Wan-Bissaka coming in and big money. Again, it took him going away, proving himself, working hard, and again, he loves the football club. That's one thing for sure. He loves the football clubs, loves representing Manchester United. You can, having conversations with him. He loves the fans, loves the club. And again, hard work pays off. When you're on the training pitch and you're working hard and you're developing your game, everyone loved him going forward. Everyone knows the quality that he's got. And when they signed Wan-Bissaka, he was the total opposite. He could, even though I think he has developed that side of it quite well, but I think Diogo's attacking minded sort of quality up there was brilliant. Whereas his defensive he was lacking massively, and I think he was getting targeted. He's gone to Milan where it's more defensive, more tactical, different type of game, and he's come back and he's looked a different player. And once he's got in, I think he's kept his position and he's gave a great account of himself. And he has been one of the strongest players for me. His consistency he's been there. And again, Wan-Bissaka got in, he come back out. So it's resilience. He's had to keep his head again, not throwing the toys out of the pram. He just wants to play and represent the football club, but he does love the football club. And what a guy he is, by the way. He's a great guy. He proper loves the fans and very supportive, of myself as well, doing what I do, reposting things, and he's a top guy. He loves the club massively.
Really, really interesting to know these personal details about them. And
Yeah.
with this, I'll just jump a little bit outside of the men team, because I know also you work with Ella Toon, our special number 7. I'm a big fan of her. Really impressive football player, born and bred in Man United. You see her mentality. You see last week her best friend is Alessia Russo, and I saw the news, and like she told her, "You're not my mate for 90 minutes. Just don't talk to me." And that's like the United DNA. Like I was so proud when I read it. And we spoke about it last week with Dec, and also just how it was super heartbreaking to see Rosso going on the other side. It was weird to accept, to be fair. But how first of all, let's start high level with Ella and her potential. And clearly I can see Ella just jumping and joining the men team, but that can't happen, unfortunately. But what can you tell us about Ella, her grit, her resilience, her love to the game, her love to the club, and her love to growth in order to be a football player, a better football player?
Again, if you just start on talking about Ella as a person, brilliant person, understands that she has to work hard every day, to be the best version of herself. She comes in, she works hard, and she wants to develop. Brilliant, and she's having a fantastic career at the football club and also internationally as well. Look at the honours that she's won in international stages is fantastic. And I think if there's one person that's revamped and rebranded the women's game, I think Ella's probably one of the strongest ones. Ability on the pitch and on the training pitch, technically, big statement, but technically, like she's on par with the men. Technically, again, different type of game physically. The pace of the game and obviously the physicality is totally different. But technically, off both feet, technical wise, finishing wise, Ella's up there with the best. And again, stats and the performances speak for themselves for the Lionesses as well as Manchester United women.
Exactly. And unfortunately, tonight we're out of the Champions League for the women competition. And Dec, did you get a chance to see a little bit of it or not? Because I know we chatted about it, but
yeah, no, I didn't get to see too much of it now tonight. I was catching it in passing. I got to see the equaliser, and unfortunately, a minute later they'd gone back up the pitch and scored their second. So we conceded too quickly again, which seems to be a problem for Manchester United.
Men and women.
So no, it wasn't our result tonight. But I'm telling you, the Manchester United women's team is definitely, they are going to come on strong. I think they're a fabulous team with great players, and they're only going to get better.
Yeah, I agree. I watched a bit more of it, and you can see somewhere that there's a bit of fear of PSG, or is it the competition, or is it the ground? I don't know. And Ella missed a good chance on 1-0 about 35 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. Sure.
Yeah, she made the good run. She made a good run, but then the shot wasn't just successful. But it's our first time in Champions League. We're a 5 years old team and a women team, and learning today that I got out is filled with disappointment about the social media piece and the official app. Because we all do those match predictions and everything, and we get the points in the men's team play. Nothing was happening on the official app tonight in Manchester United, but the women team, their Champions League game, it's their first of the not this season, first of history. Okay, it's the second leg, but first time we play. Even the score, like the live score, it wasn't being updated on the official application. Which is a shame, to be fair, because they're Manchester United team and they should be treated equally. I know it's a tough topic, and I'll get I'll get many negative comments online to compare the women football to the men football, but I'm an advocate to the women football. I have a daughter; she will be playing football in the future, maybe coached by Ryan. Never know, So, but it was super disappointing to see that, because I know the lads of the social media team, they're super dedicated. They do a lot of work, and they posted a lot, to be fair. But I was disappointed to see in the official app nothing was, except few posts that PSG scored. Okay, we equalized and everything. Once in a while, a push notification, but no match prediction, no live score, nothing. So I kind of was disappointed to see that anyway.
I think as a football club, I think we're learning. Learning with the women's stuff, because I know around the training ground, there's been a lot of developments on building the women sort of a training facility. Because if I'm being honest, it was out of porter cabins, and it wasn't the best. For a team that are representing the football club and who are at Carrington.
Yeah.
They should be in a nice state of the art, because they at the end of the day, they're professional players and they're playing in the top women's league. So I think they are trying to take a turn on that and trying to give them the best that they can. But again, it's new, and I do feel like it deserves a lot more of attention, because again, going back to the international stuff with the Euros and the World Cup, in particular, talking about England, lads, like they've pulled up, the trees, and they have done very, very well, and they've represented the nation really well.
Yeah.
And I know the Irish girls was also in the World Cup as well. So that's a fantastic.
First time, better than the men. It has been when was it? 2002 last time.
For the World Cup, in 2012 for the Euros.
Yeah, Roy Keane was suspended. Good memories. Playing at 7 a.m. in Japan and South Korea at the time. Yeah, okay, interesting. And I think to close with the point we were discussing with the stadium and the investment in the women team, and in my humble knowledge, there's only one bidder who said he will invest in the women team, and then we're back to the first point where with the Qatari bid with Sheikh Jassim, who's now ready to put 1.5 billion as an investments in the stadium, the club, and the women team. But seems I'll use Nigel words. I'll steal your words, Nigel. They are oblivious to the hate, to what's happening, to the football. They just don't care. And with that, probably I'll just close it for tonight. We're just almost 40 minutes, so really good. Ryan, it was a pleasure to have you with us.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have you again with us with the insights 100%. About the players and everything. And why not? You can bring us some players next time, like
definitely.
Bruno. Or
No. Listen, guys. Like I said at the start of the piece, like I love seeing the stuff, and keep up the great work. And it's my pleasure coming on and chatting to you guys. It's great to chat and great to meet you. And hopefully, I'll be on more. And I look forward to following your journey.
My pleasure. Our pleasure, Ryan. You can bring Bruno and tell him to raise his hands as he wants in the podcast or something like that. It's okay.
I'll have a word, mate. I'll have a word.
Okay. Nigel, Deck, thank you for joining us. Any closing words from you?
Just unfortunately, again, another sort of down in the mouth sort of episode, but we keep going, because we're Man United. We never die, and we won't let the Glazers kill us. We keep going.
Yeah. Mandara, they're posting saying, Ryan, great to have you on. Would love to have picked your brain more than the lads here. You see what we're telling you. Even the comment is long, Ryan.
I nominate Ryan as Dara's replacement, and no, lads, great having you on tonight, Ryan. Serious knowledge about the club. Good to talk with you. Look, we've been through great times, bad times with United, but one thing that will never stop is we'll always support them. So we're here forever, red.
Forever Red. Thank you very much. You opened
WHG.
it. You opened, but we never ended it. So Dara, I know you're still watching. Give us in the chat who looks better. Is it Deck or Nigel? I don't know who else. Ryan, I'll leave you off this topic so you can still stay friends with both of them. You know, you never know what happens.
I think I'm in trouble after the last comment about Dara. I may
probably
lose the fight.
it will be Nigel winning.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not vain like that. I don't need that sort of recognition. I'm all right.
You started it, Nigel. You said the
I
same
did not.
jersey, but they look better.
Huh? I leave
You
Grant up there in the other in the other corner.
Deck for the sack, Dara says.
Hey!
All right, lads. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and talk to
See
you
you next
soon.
week.
Ryan, appreciate your time, buddy. Thank you.
No problem. No problem,
Cheers,
guys.
Thank you.
Great to meet you guys.
See
You
ya.
too.